Good morning, good afternoon, tribe, my soul tribe. Welcome to King Trident's tribe. I'm Matt, and today I'm going to deliver the message that probably a lot of DS are probably wondering um, why the DM or the Divine Masculine hasn't communicated or why they're not reaching out. But before I get to that, I would like to thank everyone that has subscribed, liked, shared, or commented, email me, or even subscribe to my Instagram account, King Trident's Tribe. I'm at like 997 views right now, which is wow, that's crazy. I'm almost to 1,000 views, and yeah, it's not a lot for most people on YouTube, but for me, that was way more than what I expected, and I'm at 47 subscribers right now. That's almost triple the amount that I thought I would get. I guess that just shows, that my messages are actually really helping people, which makes me extremely happy. And to go more in detail on that, I had a young lady comment on one of my videos the other day, and it was just the comment was the reason why I do these videos. It's her appreciation. Basically, she believes in me and how I'm helping her, and that's why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for monetary value or fame or any other reason, but I know that if I'm helping one person, then hopefully I'm helping more than just that one person, and that's going to help you guys hopefully get to union or reunion or become a better person, and basically it's gonna help everybody out in the world. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys that subscribed. I never thought I'd actually get 50 subscribers. Maybe whenever I get there, I'll do something special for you guys. Maybe I'll talk about a specific subject or something like that. Maybe if you have some ideas, put them in the comments. So as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about why the DM is not communicating, and also why he's not reaching out. And this is going to be from a DM energy's perspective, myself, and through my intuition and my knowledge. But I'm going to bring forth some answers that I think can pretty much answer any kind of questions or concerns that you have in your mind. A lot of these lessons can go either way, but I'm going to focus on these from a DM perspective, as I mentioned. And that doesn't mean that it has to be a man or woman. I'm just talking about energy. It's coming from a DM energy level in order to give basically the DS some insight and clarity. So, and then I wanted to mention that there are a few keys to reunion. So when we go through these things, a few keys to reunion is work on yourself, mind, body, and soul, like I've mentioned in a lot of my videos. The lessons that I've made will help you guys. I'm not doing them for any other reason than that. They're lessons that I've continued to learn, and some I've mastered better than others, but there are lessons that will not only help you become a better person, but also help you help the divine pull you back in to union or reunion. Have faith and trust. You need to have faith and trust. If you don't believe, then nobody else is gonna believe, and it probably is not gonna happen. You gotta bring that energy. It's kind of like the video that I put out with a daily message this morning about intent. When you do things, you gotta do it with intent. You gotta really believe. You don't just say, all right, I want to come in the reunion, and then you just sit here and zen out all day. No, you got to change yourself. You got to bring the passion in every single thing that you do. Make sure you keep that high vibration. I know that sometimes some days are better than others, but you got to do what you got to do in order to keep the high vibrations. Whether it's escape, and pray, meditate, whatever it is that helps you out. And then unconditional love. And I cannot express that enough, and that's very difficult to do at times, I know. And I've given some of my examples. I'm just as guilty as the next person. Uh, and patience. And I know it's difficult when you don't know what's going on, but you just gotta have patience. Another area that I've went through a lot of remedial courses with patience. So that's how I know it's really important. Um, and then I'm going to mention. So we're going to get on with the with the message. But for the impatient people, I will timestamp the video so that way that you can just go straight to the message that doesn't want to hear me rambling on, because I have a tendency to ramble on because I like to make sure that I'm getting everything out to you guys right before, and there's some build up to the messages. So, but we're gonna get on to the message. So basically, why isn't the DM communicating or reaching out? Well, I'm gonna break this down into two scenarios. Basically, the scenarios are based upon how you went into separation. If you went in separation with an open line of communication, or you went into separation with closed lines of communication, and meaning that somebody put some sort of boundaries up. Now, we're gonna start out with open line communication. Basically, if you went into separation with open line of communication, the DM will reach out after they've went through their stage of development. And whenever I talk about stage of development, basically where they are in the process of working on themselves. Basically, the divine will not realign or push communication until the time is exactly right. And I'm not talking about man-made time, I'm talking about divine time. And also, it depends on how fast the DM learns. And as you know, us DMs, we don't learn very fast. You know, I would compare DMs, including myself, to a brick. I mean, basically that brick's got to crack before we learn. And basically also, they have to also accept what's being shown to them. And some people will probably just be like, some DMs will be like, well, I don't know, that's just a freak accident of, you know, something was shown to them. You know, it takes time for them, some people, some DMs, to come around and be ready to accept exactly what's being shown to them. And this is a lengthy process. No matter if they're fast in learning and their development, or if they are slow and they don't accept what's being shown to them, it's still a lengthy time frame. But what I want to say is in the beginning, whenever I was talking about patience, you really have to be patient. It's very crucial that that you exhibit patience, because the bottom line is do you want a joker or do you want a king when they return? Personally, to me, like whenever my DF returns, I won't accept anything other than a queen. I mean, I don't want no princess halfway to a queen. No, you better come with as a queen. Basically, the divine is developing them to be your king, and sometimes that takes a little bit of time. Man-made time, divine time is quicker, but man-made time, it's going to take a little time. And whenever I say a little time, well, I'm a year in, and you know, I'm just getting to this point. And as you can see, you know, I told you that I was a slow learner and went through a lot of remedial courses. When you don't see them, or if it seems like they've fallen off the face of the earth, it's and I'm going to get into more of a life aspect here, but if you read the book Women Are From Venus, Men Are From Mars, well, this is kind of that same aspect, but It's because men deal with their problems by going into shop and thinking. So basically, we go reclusive and we have to sit alone and like tinker with things and like think about things and in order to figure it out. Some of these problems and some of the things that you know the the divine is showing them might be a shocker to them, and people deal with things differently. It just depends on the person, and you know they might you know not be accepting of what is being shown to them, or they might be accepting and they just they're not really understanding what's exactly going on, but they're slowly progressing in that way. So they're starting to work on themselves, but they just don't understand why they're working on themselves. And some of them might not even know exactly, that they are working on themselves, why they are working on themselves. Now I know that kind of sounds weird, but sometimes you work on yourselves, and I mean I can unconsciously work on myself at times, and but then whenever I figure, I'm like, oh wow, I was doing that all along. But anyway, basically, if they fight what's being told to them by the divine, they will have to go through remedial courses, as I mentioned. And some of these remedial courses can be karmic situations, which will take longer. And I'm not just talking about a third party as in another person, even though that can be a situation. I'm talking about situations such as maybe they need to maybe they need to clear out something to do with a prior relationship that maybe they're out of, but they're not fully out of. Like there's still some ties there. But basically, they need to clear the way, clear the path, and make sure that whenever they come back, that they're coming back as a king, no other attachments. They're coming back in with that energy of, I'm ready for you, and nothing's going to slow them down. If they're accepting of what's being shown to them, hold on again. Here goes my chicken scratch. So they are. Oh yeah. So if they're accepting of what's being shown, then they will be able to see the items that is blocking them and blocking your relationship. And some of these things will be like addictions, and not just drugs or sex or work, but codependencies. They'll have to deal with the personal fears, like fear of abandonment, or maybe not being able to trust people. Lifestyle choices. So basically, they're gonna have to deal with, if they weren't very good at praying or meditating or dieting or exercising or doing things in moderation. Their thoughts, changing their thoughts, change your thoughts, change your life. Their actions, maybe listening, because I know that, I had to work on listening. I always like to talk to people and like to be heard what I'm saying, but I actually didn't listen very well. So, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so obviously you need to listen more than you need to speak. And be more trusting, etc. These are things that the lessons that they have to learn. Just a few of them. I know that there's other things that we all have to go through, but these are just a few things that they're having to resolve before they have communication or get pushed to have communication with the divine feminine. And like I said, this will take some time, no matter if they are cooperative or not. I've been in separation with my twin over a year, and actually, let's see, almost a year and a half. But separated a year and a half, but communication probably about a year. But it took me a good year to make positive changes where I feel intuitively that I'm ready. And I feel like that I am ready right now. Like intuitively, um, I feel very strong, and I feel ready to come in like the king and and take my divine feminine. Now I'm gonna get into this a little bit further because people are probably like, well, why aren't you doing that? Well, I'm gonna tell you why I'm not doing that. So once the DM are approximately 89% complete with these lessons, and they've purged these lessons, and they've learned their lessons and transformed. So basically, once they've the caterpillar exits the cocoon is a butterfly, and it's ready to fly away. Once it gets to the point where it's ready to fly away, um, then the divine will push them to make contact with the divine feminine, but not not any sooner than that though. I mean, if they're not to that point, and I honestly like if the divine feminine is is not ready, they're not going to get pushed to you no matter where the divine masculine is, which is why it's so important to worry about what's in your span of control, which is yourself, and you continuously work on yourself because you're helping the divine push the divine masculine towards you, and the divine masculine is actually ahead of the divine feminine, which I find that hard to believe because we're like I said, we learn like bricks, and but if for some odd reason the divine masculine energy is ahead of the divine feminine, well, they're gonna hold the divine masculine back until the divine feminine catches up and is at 80 or 90%, because you got to have the two butterflies to come together. You can't still be in a cocoon and the other butterfly just flying around. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm supposed to warn you guys. I got this from my intuition, but I'm supposed to warn y'all to have patience. Do not try to control this process. If you do, it won't work. It will not work at all. You'll be sabotaging your connection. And I can't express that enough, which is why patience is so needed. So from a life coaching perspective, and I'm going to go into this, how the DM should show up. So the DM should be the one leaning forward. In this scenario, the DM should be leaning forward. He should be taking the bull by the horns, and he should be reaching out to make contact, because that's what DMs are supposed to do. They're the kings. So he should be taking action to make contact and make a date. And when I say make a date, he needs to come in, and there needs to be no beating around the bush, no endless communication, and he needs to make arrange a place, a day, and a time. And if he doesn't do that, and he comes in and he's just still being the joker, well, he ain't ready yet. And I know that some divine masculines might think they slick and try to control the situation, because I like to control things, but I learned that lesson very quick. And they might try to control things. They might try to come in and be sly. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if the divine feminine is a queen, then she's gonna say, I don't date jokers. And basically, he ain't ready yet. So you need to come in, place, day, time. Okay. So basically, once the divine has done the 89%, that's what you should get. So basically, you should have the communication where they come in, and it's decisive and to the point. It's basically that king of air energy. They're coming in. They're like, I missed my divine feminine, and you know what? I'm sorry for how I treated you. I love you and I want to take you on a date. And they just get to the point. If your DM's in my wave of twins, communication will be coming soon and very quickly. How do I know that? Well, because I intuitively feel that for myself. And twins, they come in waves, which is why, this might not resonate with everyone, because you're in a different cycle of twins. But if you're in my cycle, that's what will happen. So be patient, trust the divine, and pray for protection and healing of not only yourself but your divine masculine. Now I'm going to go into if you ended with no lines of communication, or there were some boundaries that was exhibited. This one I feel is more simple. Basically, if there's a boundaries issue, like for instance, the DF asked for no communication, or told the divine masculine that she didn't want him to contact her no more, or something to that extent, or she said harsh words, or said she needed space, something like that, where basically the lines of communication were cut. As a DM, that has to be respected for more than one reason. From the 3D aspects, legally, people take that very seriously. Where like if the DM reaches out, he could put himself in a very vulnerable situation legally, just with the laws and stuff of, possibly if the DF is not in the right energy, she could say that he was like stalking her, or something to that extent. And I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just going off worst case scenario. So my point is that boundaries, no matter what, have to be followed, and they need to be respected. Basically, both parties have to go through changes that is triggered by the connection. And in this situation, there would probably be some very heavily triggering if there's no lines of communication, such as what I mentioned before: addiction, personal fears, lifestyle changes, and whatever is your blockage in your connection. Once the divine feminine has dealt with these issues, and intuitively she knows that she is at 80 or 90% healed, the divine will push her or you, because more than likely is the divine feminine or the divine feminine energy that's watching this, is the divine will push you to initiate contact. Basically, she needs to let the DM know that she is receptive to communication. And you that's something that you have to do. I believe that the DM should come in and initiate and take the bull by the horns. But in this situation, when there's boundaries that need to be respected, you need to open the lines of communication if you're the DF and you set the boundaries, to ensure that the divine masculine knows that, hey, everything's okay. I'm open to communication. And a little bit about my situation is I'm down the second part right here. Basically, after my final communication with my divine counterpart, she sent me an email and basically asked for no communication. She didn't want me to contact her anymore. So, and as I mentioned before, me being the brick that I am, or what I was, I'm not anymore, but that I was like, okay, I'll just wait a week and I'll contact her. I did that, same response. Did it one more time, a month later, same response. So it was like, hey, brick, get through your head. She said that she doesn't want any communication. So you need to back off, and you need to look at yourself, and you need to work on yourself. Don't worry about communication with her. And so that's what I did. Basically, once the divine feminine opens the lines of communication, now it's up to the divine masculine to get a clue and make the arrangements for the date. Now the divine masculine can come into his energy, and because now the boundaries are taken away, and now you can arrange the date. When he does this, the DS need to make him feel comfortable, because basically, like I said before, we're putting ourselves in a vulnerable situation if you're a DM or embodied a DM energy. And so there needs to be, make sure there's no games. If you're divine feminine, if you want your divine masculine to come in and you want to be the king, you better not have any games, because that's not fair for him, and that's not fair for you. That's not fair for the divine. So none of this. Well, I'll think about it. Blah blah blah. No. If I come in for communication, and I'm a divine masculine, I'm a king, and somebody says that, I'm like, basically, you just don't have the time of day for me. So I'm just like, all right, well, let me know whenever you're free, and then I'm just gonna walk away. That's just the way it is. That's why it's very important that that whenever he comes in, that you're very receptive and you make him feel comfortable. Basically, like I said before, he needs to come in as a king. Basically, he needs to say, "I'm sorry." That should probably be the first thing that comes out of his mouth. "I'm sorry," and tell the Dia that he forgives you and that he loves you. And then he needs to make a place, date, and time. To the point. And I'm going to tell you, DS, don't accept anything less. Don't accept anything less. You're a high value. Don't come from a scarcity mindset. Come from an abundant mindset. And if those DMs come in and they come in as a joker, you send them back. Send them back where they came from. DMs, it's your job to take the action. You're the king. Make the decision. And you need to make it special for your queen. And I'm not going to go into detail here, but basically he should be coming, open the doors for you. He should be like, holding your hand, holding the doors, pulling out your chair, whatever it is. Basically having manners is basically all it is. But it's manners for the DM, for the DF. And you need to show DMs, you need to show her that you've changed, not through your words, but your actions and your energy. Basically, no matter which situation fits you, stay strong, stay in a high vibrations, keep focusing on yourself, stay patient, trust in the divine and the outcome, and keep being the light, because you are the light. The light is within you, and you have the ability to shine. You have the ability to raise the energy around you. You have the ability to do things that make this world great. Greatness is inside each of you. Basically, remember the only piece of the puzzle that is in your span of control is you. And working on you is very important. And taking care of yourself is very important. My last suggestion is that if you do meet up, trust your intuition. No matter if you're divine masculine or divine feminine, trust your intuition. Look each other in the eyes, because the eyes don't lie. Feel their energy. Your intuition will tell you if they're ready or not. I'm going to leave you with that. But I'm going to tell you right now that I really appreciate you guys subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting, and it's unbelievable where my YouTube channel has gotten now. I know this is not big for a lot of people, but it is big for me, and I appreciate helping each one of you you and you guys are all awesome, and you're gonna come into union sooner than later. Especially if you're in my wave, you're gonna come into union sooner than later. So you need to make sure that you are ready. You need to worry about yourselves. Keep the faith, believe, trust. Make sure that you take your journal, get you a journal, and write down exactly in there what you want from that other person. And you put a little square box beside it, each one of those traits, and you check those traits off. Anyway, peace, love, and happiness, everyone. I'll talk to you guys later. Leave me some comments.